Hello and welcome. It feels like every nonprofit is in a constant race for attention. But here's the secret. The winning weapon isn't a bigger budget, it's smarter tech. Today, we are going to break down an AI-powered playbook that helps you connect with donors on a truly human level, save a ton of time, and seriously boost your impact. We'll explore how this strategy is completely changing the fundraising game, especially for models like child sponsorship, where platforms like Help You Sponsor are proving that personal connection is absolutely everything. So let's just get real for a second. With everything going on in the world, all the emails, all the posts, are your fundraising messages actually getting heard, or are they just disappearing into the void? For so many nonprofits, this is a daily struggle. How do you stand out and build that consistent support you really need to grow? All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into the core donor engagement challenge. Then, we'll see exactly why that generic, old-school marketing just falls flat. After that, I'll walk you through a simple 4-step framework to fix it. And we'll wrap up by looking at how automation pulls it all together to, really build the future of giving. Okay, let's kick things off with donor engagement. The stakes here are incredibly high. You're out there trying to make a massive difference in the world, but you're probably doing it with a small team and an even smaller budget. So the big question is, how on earth do you cut through all that noise?
It's a constant juggling act, isn't it? You're trying to keep your current donors engaged, find new supporters, and actually prove your impact. And you have to do all of that while staying laser-focused on your core mission. The pressure is real, and it always feels like there just aren't enough hours in the day.
All that pressure often leads us to make a pretty common mistake, that generic, one-size-fits-all marketing blast. It's time to trade in the megaphone for a real, genuine conversation. Because let's face it, the old way just doesn't work anymore. I mean, just look at the difference here. The old megaphone approach, just blasting out a generic, help us hit our goal, is a complete dead end. It feels impersonal, and it actually alienates people. But the moment you switch to a conversation, when you tailor your message to what actually motivates a specific donor, everything changes. That's how you build real loyalty and create that lasting support you're looking for. So, how do you actually make that shift? How do you go from the megaphone to a real conversation? Well, it all comes down to this 4-step donor-focused framework. Think of this as your blueprint for turning casual supporters into your most passionate advocates. And what's great is that this framework is beautifully simple. First, you segment your audience. Second, you align your message for each of those segments. Third, you get creative about how you deliver that message. And fourth, this is the magic part, you use automation to make it all happen without burning out your team. Let's break each one down. Step 1, segment. This is so foundational. You wouldn't talk to a brand new first-time donor the same way you'd talk to a major supporter who gives every single month, right? Of course not. One person needs reassurance and a warm welcome, while the other needs to see the long-term impact. And a volunteer, they need to hear how their time made a difference. It all starts with knowing who you're talking to. And that leads us perfectly into step 2, aligning your message. I absolutely love how marketing expert Cynthia Preto puts it. She just asks one simple question. What initially inspired this donor to give? Was it a specific story they heard, a personal connection to the cause? Whatever that little spark was, your job is to keep it glowing. So here's what that looks like in the real world. For a volunteer, you don't talk about dollars and cents, you talk about the actual families they helped. For a donor, you show them exactly where their $50 went, the specific, tangible outcome. It's all about reinforcing their unique contribution and showing them the impact, not just vaguely telling them about it. Step 3 is all about thinking outside the box. Sometimes the most direct route isn't the most effective one. There's this great example of a STEM nonprofit that just couldn't get any traction with local engineering firms. Well, it turned out the key was to connect with political leaders that those firms already trusted. The lesson here is huge. Understand your donors' priorities. See the world from their perspective. And maybe, just maybe, ask for their advice before you ever ask for a donation. Build that trust first. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking right now. This all sounds great, but it also sounds like a ton of work for my small team. And you're right. That's where the final step, automation, becomes your absolute superpower. This isn't about adding complexity. It's about putting this whole framework on autopilot so you can finally work smarter, not just harder. So how do we automate all this? Well, it starts with your email platform. This is basically your command center. It's where you can automatically tag and sort your donors into all those segments we just talked about. You can build entire email journeys that send the perfect message to the right person at exactly the right time, all while you're focused on other things.
And then you've got AI writing assistants. Just think about this for a second. Instead of spending an hour agonizing over 5 different thank you emails, you can generate personalized drafts in, seconds? This is a massive game changer for freeing up your team to focus on the big picture, not just the busy work.
And let's not forget your visuals. Design platforms like Canva are amazing. They let anyone on your team easily create professional, consistently branded materials for everything, from social media posts to annual reports, making sure you always look polished and put together.
And finally, you have to track what's working. You just have to. Even a simple spreadsheet can be your best friend here. It can show you which messages are hitting the mark and which ones are, well, not. Are people opening your emails? Are they clicking? This isn't just boring data. It's your roadmap to getting smarter with every single campaign.
Okay, let's bring this all home. When you put this framework into practice, you're not just sending a few better emails, you are actively building the future of giving for your organization. You're creating a real path to sustainable, long-term growth.
So, what are the big takeaways? If you remember anything, remember this. Know your audience. Speak to them personally. Think creatively about what they value. Then use automation to do that at scale, and use data to get better every single day. That is the formula.
At the end of the day, this is about way more than just fundraising. It's about using innovation to build deep trust and to deliver real, measurable impact. When you truly embrace a donor-focused mindset, you stop just asking for money and you start building powerful relationships. This is how modern nonprofits thrive, and it's exactly how platforms are revolutionizing fields like child sponsorship by putting transparency and connection front and center. So the only question left is, are you ready to stop broadcasting and start connecting?